Disclaimer: I am a therapist, but I am not your therapist. Any discussions of mental health are strictly based on my clinical experiences or current understanding of the topic. Nothing in my videos should be taken as diagnosis, treatment, or formal services. Any scenarios constructed to elaborate on a topic or share an experience are hypothetical and should not be taken as identification with actual persons, living or deceased. If you want to support the channel, you can donate at streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip, or you can become a patron at patreon.com/transgirltherapist. Folks, so Zena and I had been talking about something that we use on our server and also something we use in our home life. It's something that we find to be really great for communication. It's also a really great way to check in. And Zena wanted to present on it. I think they're the better person to do it. They have been the one that's sort of implemented this and kept everybody on it. I think I've done maybe one or two things. We figured out how to use Greenlight after a lot of discussion. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the traffic light system and how we use it for communication. So Zena, take it away.
Hi, so traffic light system is something that we started using on our Discord servers shortly after COVID started. Suddenly all of our interactions were completely online, and it was a really big struggle because we were incredibly cut off from being able to see people's reactions, hear any kind of tone things that we would normally pick up on, just aren't as easy in a Discord call, especially when we have so many people talking at once, and not the internet connections aren't always the bestest anyways. So after, some issues that we noticed in our friend group, the thing that we implemented was traffic light system. And I'm going to be honest, this is absolutely something that I pulled from Kink. If you're familiar with green, yellow, red lights, this is going to sound a lot like that because it basically is. So in our service, particularly this is most useful in voice related anything, voice chats, or even just in-person voice. So you've got green light and green light. Somebody can just say that outright. Hey guys, I need a green light for this conversation. And that's where people can give a definite yay or nay for something. Yeah.
Another good use of Greenlight, and this is the one that I came up with, is that if you're having a conversation with people that has content that might be bothersome or might be hard for them, you can always ask people, where are you guys at with this? And they can kind of say either green light, yellow light, red light, which we'll get into. But it's a good way to just get clarification to where people are at in a way that doesn't require a lot of nuance or overly slowing down the conversation with tangents. So just something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, no, I think that's my favorite use of green light is, hey, I want to get into this topic that, may not be the easiest, but I want to make sure we're feeling okay to go there.
Or, hey, I am talking about this thing. Is everybody still with me?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Especially when you're all tired late at night and still talking, right? So the next one is yellow light. And yellow light is great for when you notice that you're starting to feel uncomfortable or starting to have an issue, something coming up within you, and you can call yellow light. And for us, that is the signal to everybody kind of wrap up what they're saying. Maybe people could have their last sentences, and then we move on to another topic. This is kind of a soft end to something. And then we also have red light, which is a hard end. Everything just stops right then. That's it. You let it go, and you just move on to another topic. And so in our personal life, that might more mean like we drop everything and we all take some space. Okay. So when we're on, in Discord servers or on calls, we tend to use these. We don't always necessarily. A lot of these things are no questions asked. Okay, we don't always know everyone super well. We'll check in where appropriate, but a lot of times it's just no questions asked. And especially red and yellow lights are great for when you are feeling like you've got a panic attack coming up, you've got a flashback coming on, you realize that you are just suddenly really uncomfortable and not okay for some reason. They're all really great times to use those.
Just with the red light?
This was just lights in general. I just finished
okay,
the other two lights. Yeah, that was on Discord calls. The other area that we find these really useful is our home life, especially when we're arguing. There are definitely times where um, we have called red lights, and in our house, if somebody calls that, it just means that we're going to drop it, and we definitely will, uh, get back to that later. This isn't like a hey, we're going to end it, we're never going to touch this topic again. This is a hey, we need to let everybody calm down and get into a better headspace before we try tackling this topic again. Right? Our goal is not to obfuscate anything, or be in denial about anything, but just to make sure that somebody can clear their head and actually be in an okay spot again. Um, and light too. I also find using that one, if there was like a hey, I need space, maybe somebody forgot, maybe somebody else is just also frazzled. Yellow light is a good hey, really like I need this one to pause right now. So, do you have any more thoughts, love?
Yeah, I guess for me, I think one of the things that's always difficult whenever you're trying to be in relationship or trying to deal with certain things, I think it's really important to make sure that you are being conscious of your audience. And so like checking in with them is a really good use of this. The other thing it does is let you shut down the conversation as long as this is an agreed upon social contract for everyone involved.
Yeah, I think that is probably the agreed upon social contract is.
For example, if someone's trying to like gish gallop or they're trying to like, they're in some way trying to like take over the discussion, you can just be like yellow light, like wrap it up and be done. You get another sentence or two and be done. That's really fucking helpful. Like that's really fucking helpful. And I feel like the red light one's really good for arguments. This actually happened earlier today. I won't go into specifics, but basically, me and Zena, like any other couple, get in discussions, get in arguments. Both of us have trauma around certain things, and occasionally that shit clashes. Yeah. So one of the things is like if one of us feels like the conversation's getting too hectic, they are told to, we tell the other one we're calling a red light. The thing is that like, if I'm brutally honest, Zena uses those more than I do because of borderline and a few other choice things.
You've done it just as much as I have, I think, at this point.
Really? Okay, I feel like I always do it less.
It just depends on the day, right? Like, if I'm in PMDD mode and like my body is just raging at me, I don't always notice everything, and sometimes it's definitely just to be the one, to go, wait a minute, I got what's going on here, and this needs red light, right? And other times, like Jess said, our trauma clashes. Other times, I tend to call it. I think it just depends on the situation, though.
Yeah.
Especially if these are great for moments when you're like, I'm gonna explode. I'm gonna start saying things that I really probably shouldn't. My filter's gone. That's red light is great for those moments. Okay. And if you're any of my, if you guys also have like PMDD or deal with any other, stuff, I think these things are really great for relationships because it can give you guys a chance to pause, to break, breathe, and actually come back to something later. And sometimes you don't need to, right? Sometimes like Jess and I have things that we're pretty savvy about the times when our trauma is clashing. We've been through that a lot over the years, so sometimes we don't feel like we have to come back, but other times we do come back.
The Green Kachik said, I don't think it's necessary to count who set boundaries more frequently than the other. That seems kind of fraught. Oh, yeah, no, I was bringing that up as just a thing I've noticed, at least my observation, and I could be wrong on the Zena could be very right, is that I tend to, and I know that because I tend to hesitate to call them, at least for my own self-awareness, the tendency is that ending the conversation brings up a lot of the abandonment stuff within borderline. So this wasn't like a attempt to like in any way be a contest with Zena. It was more just sort of an observation of my memory is Zena tends to call red lights more than I do, and that's just because I tend to be very hesitant to do so for a couple reasons. Yeah, at least emotionally.
I notice at least by the time ADHD and migraines kick in, sometimes we don't always remember. So if there's like things like that, I just kind of say just because I realize that memory is not always a thing. So for either of us, depending.
Yeah. So yeah, is there anything else you want to say on this?
No. I think this is a system really worth implementing. And I would say if you are going to implement it, have very clear rules, a very clear system when you can implement this, right? If this is something you want in your friend group, be very clear with everybody up front. Okay, we remind people at the beginning of every video call we get into, even if they've been in lots of video calls with us, the reminders are still really helpful that this is what we want them to do when they're feeling, really triggered or off spot. Our house, we do have a written house agreement, right? We all do, and this is something that we implement in there. Based on all of our agreements and how we're going to react, right? We've talked about how we're going to handle when somebody calls a red light, what coming back to talk about the thing kind of looks like we've discussed. So this is something that I think clear written rules for that can really get implemented in your, social circles. It can be really helpful for people. I also really like it for if anyone's struggling with words, right? I think that's the other big situation. If you're having a hard time talking or expressing what's going on with you, light systems are easy enough to just be like yellow light, red light, So
Yeah, and that's just my use here. Is I really think I feel like this is really useful. What is green Kachik say? Thank you very much for this discussion. I have been familiar with the lights metaphor for kink, but not thought about systematizing it for social engagement. I really appreciate this idea and framework. Yeah, like actually, Zena knows a lot about kink, and the thing is, did you pull that any of that for kink, or did that?
Oh yeah, no. Kink absolutely uses. So beginner kink. One of the things that you can do is green, yellow, red. That's slightly different. So usually green is like, yeah, I'm cool with whatever we're doing. Let's keep doing it. Yellow is maybe slow down on this or pull back somewhere in there. Red is no, I need this to stop right now. And so some of the nuances and how people use it, depends on the exact person or where you're reading from, but that's absolutely where I pulled this from. Oddly enough, I use red light, red, yellow, green lights in day-to-day life and Discord calls. I haven't really had a need for it in, pink life or anything so far, but I still think it's really, really useful. And frankly, even if you're doing this in your sex life, I think it can be really useful, especially with like you're trying to sort out, new partners, new communication, any kind of, especially anything with newness to it, trying to figure out where somebody's at and making sure that you're like paying attention. You're getting clear information from them.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think our big point with this is just we think this is a really cool system. We use it regularly, and we wanted to share it with you. And I wanted to take an opportunity for Zena to come on and talk about it because they're the one that's implemented this way better than I. So if there's nothing else, excuse me, I'm drinking too much pop.
I think that's about everything. As long as anyone else has any questions, it looks like there's a couple people typing, so I'm not positive.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please ask. Otherwise, we can call it here. So I'll give everybody a minute. Questions, get them typed real quick. The green cheek. Yeah, if there's anything else that really doesn't, that stands out to you about this, or something else that you feel just like would be a good addition, also talk about it on the server. We use it here. Just thanks. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. All right, guys. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell, all that good shit. If you want to support us, we really do appreciate it. We're trying to save up for a new camera right now. We're trying to raise $250 to buy a better camera so you guys can see us better and all that. If you want to donate, you can do that at streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip. The mods can put that into the chats. And you also can become a patron at patreon.com/transgirltherapist. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.